The cultivator seizes the heavens and earth to create their own destiny, defying fate and changing destiny, cultivating chi and building the foundation, forming the golden pill and nurturing the nascent soul. Having the nascent soul is equivalent to having a second life. Once an accident happens, one can abandon the physical body and escape. Then, at the appropriate time, one can seize another body and be reborn. This is a classic plot in the cultivation genre. If we don't talk about cultivation, and instead talk about science, can humans achieve consciousness transfer? This is the story we are going to talk about next. In the world of Tower of Fantasy, there are humans who have achieved rebirth through consciousness transfer using technological means in the world of Tower of Fantasy. The story begins at a steamed bun shop in the Windward Plains. Judging from the shop's furnishings, I suspect that Our Lady Zhuke is a regular here. The shopkeeper's name is Xiao Chun. There are all kinds of steamed buns on display at the stall. I have to say that the steamed buns in the Domain 9 are quite unique in appearance. No wonder the executor couldn't resist and wanted to buy some to taste. Coming to the Domain 9 can be considered a business trip on official expenses. However, the executor still has to pay for it out of his own pocket. Just about to pay. But the landlady refused. At this moment, the system prompt sounded. Congratulations, executor, you have triggered a hidden mission. Find the landlady's son Jinqing. Then Xiao Chun handed 2 steamed buns to the executor. Then received a prompt. Obtain Xiao Chun's handmade steamed buns *6. Soft hands make for easy taking, but a short mouth makes for easy eating. Since you have received benefits. The executor soon found the fork in the road that Xiao Chun mentioned. Sure enough, a group of AFK children were found. Unfortunately, there was no sign of Jinqing. The executor approached and asked. As expected, children are not good at lying. Their hesitant and evasive behavior was a clear indication that something was amiss. The executor immediately began their own performance. They appealed to the other person's emotions and used reason to persuade them. In reality, they used a big steamed bun as bait. As expected, the child fell for it. They immediately revealed the whereabouts of Jinqing. It turns out that Jinqing accidentally obtained a secret book on cultivating immortality. After mastering it, he might be able to ascend to the heavens, meeting his own father. So he went to seclude himself in a cave to cultivate. This incident tells us that don't lie to children for no reason. In case the child takes it seriously, then the adult will have a headache. The executor continues the cliché. As expected, children have no secrets and tell everything they know. It was very easy to learn the location of the cave, since the clue has already been obtained. Then the steamed bun is definitely not going to be given. Don't ask me why it's not being given. Asking is just because there happens to be that option. The production team is quite mischievous. This is to educate children not to betray their friends. I definitely don't want to monopolize it. Ignoring the kind praise from the child behind me, the executor set off and arrived at the Immortal Cultivation Cave. After seeing the cave, my first thought was, what is this place used for? There are chiseled stone steps in front of the cave. They extend all the way to the entrance of the cave. Moreover, judging from the decoration at the entrance of the cave, it seems more like a relic left by an ancient civilization. As a comparison, I have found the designs of the other gates in the Domain 9. The building materials used in this cave and the materials used for the steel in the Dark Temple ruins are the same. It's highly possible that they were also left by the ancient civilization. Apart from the design of the gates, there are also the statues of the spirit cats inside. The legend of the spirit cats originated from the Domain 9. It is said that the spirit cats will bless the Domain 9. It's just that its eyes are a little crooked. Interestingly, I went to several temples specifically for this. I found that the size of the spirit cat statues is not the same. There are several different sizes just in terms of specifications. Is the spirit cat statue a human creation or from an ancient civilization? Since there are spirit cat statues, will we be able to encounter spirit cats in the Domain 9 in the future? After entering the cave, everything turned black. It instantly turned into a horror game. Following the direction of the spirit cat statue's eyes, you can discover a cave inside. Inside, there are many instruments arranged. There are many books scattered on the ground. The most eye-catching thing is a child wearing a device next to it. He is sitting cross-legged inside a ritual circle. The messy wires on the ground are connected to the surrounding instruments. But what's even more strange is the table around him. The style of this table is completely different from the surrounding area. There are also runes of unknown meaning on it. Could it be left by an ancient civilization? The executor walks deeper into the area. He discovered the machine of the operating table. At this moment, the progress bar is loading at a steady pace. Finally, it reached 100%. This is the process of downloading consciousness. The scene changes. Jinqing has already awakened. The cultivation manual is lying beside him. The executor immediately recognized it as a scam aimed at children. Pay attention to the characters in the middle. Suitable for young people who are in good health to try. I have to say, the screening criteria are quite strict. Conversation between the executor and Sword Excelsior. But at this moment, he seems a bit absent-minded. Then he laughed like crazy. At this point, the consciousness inside his body is no longer Sword Excelsior's. Instead, it has become Xiang Chen's. It has to be said that scientists are all crazy. Hycrose wants to live forever. The sage wants to achieve mechanical ascension. Dr. Claire is searching for his lover. The Ravagers is creating a legion of aberrant. Zero in Meroria is a crisis of artificial intelligence. Inside the Tower of Fantasy, there isn't a single normal research personnel among the capable ones. Are you saying there's still Shelley? Shelley's intelligence bounces back and forth between 0 and 200. In terms of professional knowledge, she's a genius with a score of 200. In other aspects, she's basically a cutie pie. Executor's concerned inquiry. What I got in return was a pointless question. What year is it now? This question seems easy. Actually, we really don't know. The executor arrived in the Domain 9 in the year 2712. But that's according to the calendar of the planet Ida. There is still no written record of the calendar in the Domain 9 to this day. Although the loading screen also displays a timestamp. But it is also converted to the planet Aida's calendar. So I'm also curious about what the calendar in the Domain 9 looks like. But it is highly likely that the official team has no plans to create one. They will probably continue to use the Earth's calendar. Jinqing rushed out excitedly while speaking. At this point, the console has become unresponsive. As they exited the cave, they could hear Jinqing's excited voice from far away. That is the joy of being reborn. He can't be considered a good person, using a young child's body to achieve reincarnation. This kind of person is actually very selfish. This kind of body snatching is no different from murder. The pitiful person must have something hateful about them. The executor followed Jinqing to the mountaintop. He was gazing at Xiao Chun's steamed bun shop in the village in the distance. Although Xiang Chen can't be considered a good person, but he is a person who is infatuated with love. The first thing he thought of after being resurrected was Xiao Chun. The executor approached him again to talk. He actually casually said that he was hungry. It has to be said that the train of thought of the mad scientist is extraordinary. Others who take over someone else's body usually try their best to conceal the fact of possession. But he doesn't care at all. The executor took out 2 big steamed buns. Jianxing is also not polite. He picked them up and started eating right away. However, the more he ate, the more uncomfortable he felt. The taste was unexpectedly addictive. That's right, it was the taste of first love. When he found out that the child he possessed was Xiao Chun's son, Xiang Chen's entire state of mind became bad. This was fate playing a joke on him. After all the effort, he finally resurrected. He still possessed the child of his goddess. It was like he had just taken a nap. The goddess got married. Not only did she get married, but she also gave birth to a son. It's not just one son that she gave birth to. He had just been resurrected and he ended up harming his own son. A series of setbacks. It made everyone in the game world dumbfounded. Just want to be alone in silence. The micro expressions here are done very well. It's evident that he's really depressed. The executor doesn't know who just want to be alone in silence is. So he can only go find Xiao Chun. When Xiao Chun heard that her son was in trouble, she immediately wants to close up and finish work. I suspect that by closing up, she means collecting the money. Not only did she not collect the buns, even the fire in the stove was still burning. Could this be the legendary empty void closing up shop technique? They followed Xiao Chuan and ran outside together. At this time, Xiao Chuan also introduced her son's situation. His father died in a battle against the forces of darkness. Afterwards, Jianxing was melancholic and disheartened. It wasn't until recently that he started to feel better. The executor said after hearing this, "That's good to hear. Your son now wants to go to the sky to see his dad." Xiao Chun was a little confused after hearing this. Indeed, when it comes to death, we shouldn't lie to children. This also reminds me of another little girl in Tower of Fantasy. Nano's parents and grandfather also passed away. She still thinks they went on an adventure. So she has been working hard to become an adventurer and wants to go find them. The well-intentioned lie resulted in this. It may not necessarily lead to good results. Just then, Jianxing also came back. He saw the former goddess. He was somewhat incoherent. He used to want to be with Xiao Chun. But now he has become her son. Fate is really an interesting thing. Jianxing quickly changed the subject and said he was a little hungry. Then Xiao Chun took him back home. However, the executor refused to do it. This child is obviously a little abnormal. The executor came to the steamed bun shop again. Sure enough, he found Jianxing staring at Xiao Chun's work intently. The executor approached and started a conversation. Unexpectedly, Xiang Chen had no intention of hiding the fact that he wanted to take over someone's body. He just asked to change the location to explain the truth. So they came to the entrance of a cave. Next, they heard Xiang Chen's complaints. He is really a meddlesome person. It is true that the executor is meddling in other people's business. But for the sake of the golden core, they decided to endure it for now. Xiang Chen confessed everything to the executor. He has been weak and sickly since he was a child. He also has a congenital disability. He has been bullied since he was young. His fragile heart was devastated by the bullying. His thoughts gradually became dark as well. No matter in which era, bullying is always the fuse that leads to a person's corruption. But in the darkest days, there was someone who was kind to him. That person was Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun not only brought him here, but also praised his intelligence. This reignited hope in Xiang Chen's heart. He studied his ancestors' research notes tirelessly, neglecting sleep and food. Finally, he achieved results. He was able to store and even transfer his own personality and consciousness data to another person's body. Although it was somewhat unsettling. But isn't this just like Hycrose's mimicry technology? Huma and Claudia both relied on this technology to be revived. Mimicry technology runs through the entire Tower of Fantasy. This is a technology unique to the District 9. The 7th district was only shared after being connected to the District 9. This is also reflected in the dialogue in the Lyra. Now, the rudimentary form of mimicry technology has also appeared in the Domain 9. So, does mimicry technology rely on Yuan energy or not? If we were to talk about what makes the District 9 stronger than the 7th district, then it must be the application of Yuan energy technology. If mimicry technology also relies on Yuan energy technology, then Xiang Chen's research also cannot be separated from the power of the domain. Coincidentally, this cave is located directly below Ziguang's position. At the same time, it is also the starting point of the Domain 9 energy pipeline, Yuan Yuan. Here is a spit on it. Although everyone jokingly calls Yuan Yuan the Great Wall, but its function has nothing to do with the Great Wall. The Yuan Yuan of the Domain 9 is a pipeline for energy transmission. The cave mansion is built here. This may be the reason why Xiang Chen succeeded in taking over Chen's body. After this successful attempt, all the technology was destroyed. As Xiang Chen continued his research, his health deteriorated. His evil thoughts grew stronger as well. In order to be with the goddess, he became even more desperate in his research. Finally, his body gave out. In the end, he uploaded his consciousness into a chip. Then he even fabricated a cheat book to deceive children. All of this was only to take over the body of a young and healthy teenager and be reborn. The executor finally figured out everything. But he didn't feel that anything was wrong. Nor did he clamor to avenge Jianxing. Instead, he was curious if Xiang Chen had already been resurrected. Why is he still feeling down? Xiang Chen, however, could only bitter smile. After all, he had finally obtained the capital to restart his life. But it had taken away something precious to Xiao Chun. The more Xiao Chun cared about Jianxing, the more guilty Xiang Chen felt. He stood in front of his own grave, silent for a long time. Finally, he decided to return his body to Jianxing. The executor's next words are quite interesting. Even if no one else knows you've been here, I will remember. The protagonist behaves very abnormally in this part of the plot. Xiang Chen's method of taking over someone's body is quite ruthless. In fact, it is to erase the existence of others. However, the protagonist turns a blind eye to it. He keeps asking Xiang Chen about his feelings, despite all of this. All of this is due to the protagonist's experiences. Xiang Chen is reborn through taking over someone's body. And what about the executor? The executor has lost their past memories. After waking up, their strength becomes very powerful. But is the executor really an executor? Is there a possibility? Is it possible that the executor's body was also taken over by someone else? And even the consciousness of the possessor has had their memories reset. In this situation, even if the body is not their own, they are not aware of it. This creates a new possibility. After the protagonist was captured by heirs of Ida, just like what the sage did to Shirley, they sealed off their consciousness, and then replaced it with injected new consciousness. However, the new consciousness also has no memories. It's like replacing a computer's hard drive with a new one that has no data on it. That means you are reborn into a different world. But you forgot that you are a reincarnated person. In this situation, Hycrose will still recognize the identity of the protagonist. But the protagonist is no longer the protagonist. The more advanced technology develops, the harder it becomes for humans to prove that they are who they are. After saying goodbye to Xiang Chen, he returned to the steamed bun shop. At this time, Jianxing had already returned. His consciousness had already been switched back. Although it was a case of body snatching, his consciousness, however, was not affected. The same goes for Nemesis. Shirley's consciousness was also trapped. It was Zeke who reawakened Shirley in the consciousness space. Does the original consciousness still exist in the protagonist's body? What did the sage actually do to the protagonist? The executor asked Xiao Chun about information regarding Xiang Chen. Xiao Chun also arrived slowly. It can be seen that Xiao Chun's actions towards Xiang Chen are only out of sympathy. Xiang Chen is destined to be a one-sided love. Returning to the cave, it was discovered that the information on the console had changed. The technology has been lost and cannot be used again. But in High Crows, the mimetic technology is still thriving. At this time, if you find Jianxing, you will discover a new dialogue. After putting on the helmet in Jianxing, there's an experience of soaring through the clouds and fog. This reminds me of the Asgard Way. Both can be considered as virtual spaces. Jianxing met Xiang Chen inside. At the end of the story, Xiang Chen also urged Jianxing to take good care of his mother. The emotional entanglement of the previous generation finally came to an end. Undoubtedly, the core of the story is the romantic relationship between Xiao Chun and Xiang Chen. One who has sympathy. One who has a secret crush. It is destined to be a tragedy. But I didn't expect it to go around for so long. Even if they were to be reborn once, it would still be a tragedy. If the one who was awakened by the dust and took over their body was an adult, would the ending be different then? The story ends here. This is a hidden plot in the Domain 9. The idea of technological possession is still very creative. If it were you, would you be willing to achieve immortality through this method? This is the end of this episode. Follow Xiaofeng. Take you to experience a different tower.